Hello, my name is David Wiggins, otherwise known as Halfpenny Man, and I'm here to introduce you to another of my Laugh Out Loud ebooks for busy people on the go. Very short stories, comedy stories, and I'll say I'd like to introduce you to them. This one is an interesting one by a lad called Freddie, and he likes to go to his grandparents at the weekends. But at this particular visit, his grandparents, they've got a surprise for him. So I think we'll start. Now, Freddie, I'll get into a bit of a character for Freddie and for his grandparents, and we'll take it from there. Okay? So, Freddie, now let's have a think about Freddie. Freddie talks a little bit like this. Okay. But he's a nice guy, and he loves his grandparents, and he goes to them on a Friday for an evening meal, have dinner with them. And he gets there, and of course they welcome him in. Oh, Freddie. And his granddad said, "We've got a real special treat for you tonight." And he says, "There's something really tasty." "Oh," says Freddie, "what's that?" He said, "It's a surprise. Your grandma's been cooking it most of the day." "Oh, that sounds really nice. Okay then." So they're sitting there waiting, Grandad and Freddie, and Grandma brings in this bowl of, well, they're battered things. You can definitely tell. I mean, you know something that's battered, like a battered fish or something like that, or a battered sausage. But these aren't like that. These quite small battered things. And of course, then comes in some chips, and then a bowl full of garden peas. And Grandma said, "We'll have a nice pot of tea afterwards. Let's get stuck into this while it's still piping hot." So of course, now Freddie doesn't really like to say things like, "What what the heck's this? I ain't eating that. What is it?" And of course, Grandad says it's chitlins. We're having chitlins. "Oh, oh, right," said Freddie. And of course, he's getting a spoonful of this and getting a portion of this, and then putting some peas on his plate. And of course, his mind's on overdrive, and he's thinking, what the blimey heck are chitlins? So anyway, he's there, and he's, "Are you all right, Freddie?" Yeah, I'm fine, thanks." "Well, come on, you get stuck into them chitlins. I've been cooking them most of the day. It's a real treat. We haven't had these in years." So, of course, he's there and he's eating it away and he's thinking to himself, chitlins, what chitlins? Sounds like chicken, doesn't it? Something to do. And, of course, he cuts one open and it was like a sort of a whitish meat, Could be chicken, couldn't it? So he's munching away and he's got an idea that if you eat things rather quickly, wolf it down, and you're not too certain, it's the best way to do it. So old Freddie woofs it down. He's really going to town with these chitlins, chips, and garden peas. And before he knows it, it's all done, and they're all congratulating each other. "Oh, a lovely meal," and then I'll put the kettle on, and have a nice cup of tea. Anyway, as Freddie has had his cup of tea, and then he starts heading home, he waves goodbye to his grandparents at the front door, and as he disappears gradually out of their street, still waving at them all the time, of course, he heads down and goes through the park. And as he's getting to the park, getting down to the park gates, he sees this chap, and he knows this. He's seen this man before. Works with his dad, and he says, "Excuse me." He said, "Oh yeah, how are you?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "I'm fine, thanks." He says, "I've just been to my grandparents." He says, "And we've had chitlins for tea. Any idea what chitlins are?" And he goes, "Chitlins? Oh, I remember those. Yes, I remember them from years ago. Cool, blimey, yeah. It's intestine, pig's intestines, chopped up deeply, and then deep fried in batter. Yes, disgusting, I know, but we had them years ago." Well, as you can imagine, this didn't go down too well with Freddie. In fact, it didn't go down at all. It all came back up again. Cool, what a gush of blooming spew. You've never seen nothing like it. Sipping heck. And in fact, the chap that he was talking to had to leap backwards quickly so he could get all this, vomit splashed all over his shoes. God dear. He looked at Freddie and said, "I think if I was you, I'd go home, mate. You don't look too good at all." He said, "I don't feel very good." He said, "Well, it's no harm done. It's up now, isn't it? It's all out of you now. So go on. You want to go and tell your mum?" He says, "They shouldn't be feeding you things like that these days, should he? You know what I mean? Treat or no treat." So anyway, Fred's, he's heading past the lake and through the park, and that, and he thinks to himself, I won't say anything to Mum. It's done with now. I mean, what's the point? And so of course he says, oh, yeah, and of course gets on with his life. And then the following week, of course, it's Friday night again. Before you know it, isn't it? And he's heading off down to see Grandad again. So of course he gets down there and he said, oh, "Hello, Freddie. Come in, Freddie." And of course, the usual thing, come in, sit down at the table with me. He says, Freddie. So he sits down with Grandad and he says, "Grandma's got another treat for us tonight." And of course, Freddie's going, "Oh no, no, what can it be? Why can't they just give me fish and chips or sausage and chips or So I like a nice lasagna, but no," he said, uh, "we've got uh, a nice treat for you. It's tripe." Tripe? What the? Maybe an ex-tripe, thought Freddie, and his little mind is going on overdrive again. What the heck is tripe? You know. Anyway, he didn't have to wait very long. It got in. The plate came in front of him, and there was this tripe with some chips, and this time with some mushy peas. And he looked down at the plate and thought, "Oh my God!" Now, tripe is sort of, well, it's pretty unique to say the least, and it's white, and yes, well, that's about the best I can say for it, really. But anyway, Freddie looks down at the plate and he goes, "Hmm, white. What's white? It must be some sort of fish. Yeah, fish is white, isn't it? Mind you, I suppose, you know, squid is white, isn't it? Octopus, I suppose, is white. Maybe it's something like that. Maybe that's what tripe is." But like I say, he just didn't feel as though he could say, "What the heck's this muck you've given me on the plate? Oh, I'm not eating that. Oh dear." He just couldn't do it. He's just not that sort of guy. He loves his grandparents. He just doesn't want to be rude, impolite. So he does exactly the same. He's got an ingenuity, and he just thinks, "I'll get the maybe fork, stab a chip, then cut off a little bit of this tripe, stick that on there, and then dip the whole thing into the mushy peas, and then I'll just wolf it down." And of course, that's exactly what he does. And he's surprised how soon he's cleared his plate. Granddad's cleared his plate. Grandma then clears her plate. Everybody's congratulating himself. "Wasn't that? We've been years since we've had that in it. Oh, blimey, yeah, that's lovely." Anyway, old Freddie's out the door and he's rushing. He's not feeling too good on this one. You know, tripe is, it's special. Anyway, so he's not running, but he's on a very quick walk down to the park gate. And in his haste, when he turns around into the park gate, he bumps into this lady. "Oh," she said, "be careful where you're going, Sonny." He goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry, madam, but I'm in a bit of a rush to get home." He says, she said, "Well, what's the matter?" He said, "Well, I've been at my grandparents and they've just given me some tripe. And I've no idea what tripe is, and I don't know." He says, "But I just don't feel right." "Oh," she says, "tripe? I remember having that years and years ago. And in fact, I refused to eat it. Disgusting stuff, Good grief. Stomach of a cow. Oh, well, I mean, you can imagine poor old Freddie. His face, he went as white as a sheet. God, he was whiter than the tripe, tell you the truth. And he chucked up everywhere. Well, the vomit came out. It was like a fountain. In fact, this lady, she had to sort of leap sort of sideways to get out of the mess. Oh dear, what a pavement pizza. Oh, you've never seen anything like it. Anyway, he said, oh, thank you. She said, "Well, at least it's out. It's a bit of a mess on the pavement, but, better out than in and all that, you know what I mean?" Yeah, she said, "What are you doing? You do look a bit pale. If I was you, I'd get home to your mum, and tell her what a terrible thing, her parents are giving you, grandparents giving you that tripe. Oh, disgusting. Go on, off you go, Sonny." So, of course, Freddie's off, goes home, and as he's getting back towards his home, he thinks, I should really tell Mum about this. This is not right, but Mum hasn't been too good just recently. She hasn't been herself. She's been crying a lot, and for some reason, Dad isn't staying. He's been staying with his brother, my Uncle Tom. Yeah, he's been over there. Don't know what all that is about. He said, "I heard my Mum talking to him on the phone. Mentioned something about I think he was at a fair, and I thought to myself, He's lucky for him, isn't it? You know, I could do it going to a fair. I love the rides on a fair. Anyway, he he sort of he decides not to say anything. Just says it's again, like I say, you know, he's brought it all up. So what's the harm? So anyway, he gets round to the next week, and of course, when he gets down to Friday, he's got a lot of, you know, fears now about going to his grandparents. So it's a slow walk there, not a, you know. And he knocks on the door, and of course they say, "Oh, Freddie, come on in." And of course, he's the last thing he wants to hear is they've got a surprise for him. And of course, that's exactly what they say. Freddie, we got a surprise for you tonight. We got an odge pie. We haven't had odge in absolutely years. Must have been around the time of the war, mate. You know, it's absolutely years ago we last had odge. Anyway, Grandma, she's a good cook. Lovely pastries and nice pie. So of course he's sitting down and he's thinking, odge, what odge? Is it odge? Why can't they just speak English and say things like beef and pork and chicken and lamb? At least I know what it's come from. Hodge, what's hodge? Is it meat off a horse? Pony? Llama? You know, what what's hodge? So anyway, this again, like I say, the plate was brought in by Grandma. Place each, a nice piece of this pie, you know, nice short crust pastry, and then some mashed potato this time, not chips, mashed potato, and then a nice uh, thick brown onion gravy to go with it. So that was it. It was pour on the gravy, you know, cover as much of this food up as he could, and then in his usual sort of way of dealing with things, you know, mashed potato, a little bit of odge pie, covered the whole thing in brown onion gravy, and woof it down, mate. That's the way to do. Get it down your neck. So anyway, this is what he does. Of course, within a matter of minutes, he's finished his plate. Oh, you do really well there, says Grandad. You must really like Hodge. It's been years since we've had it. We were lucky to get some from the butcher, actually. He's done us a favour by getting some. Oh, yeah. Anyway, he's Freddie's, you know, come to the same thing. He's done. Another one's done. When are these flipping treats going to finish? You know, maybe back to some sort of normality. Why can't we have some fish fingers and chips? Anyway, he sort of goes out again and he's waving to everybody and gets and of course he's walking through the park and a bit of a daydream really. And he sees the park keeper and he's tying up the boats, tell you the truth, after the day's business by the lake in the park. And he goes up to him and he says, "Excuse me, mister." He said, "We can help you, Sonny Jim." And he says, "I've just been to my grandparents." He says, and he said, "I'll tell you the truth." He said, "They gave me Hodge pie." I just wish you had any idea what Hodge is. Hodge, he said. "No, I've never heard. You don't mean lodge, do you? We've got a lodge here, a house that's by the gate, the lodge house." No, no, it wasn't lodge. It was definitely Hodge. "I'll Google it for you," said the man. So he gets out his phone, Googling it. Freddie's standing there waiting, like, Hodge. Oh, Hodge. Offal. Uh, from the stomach of a sheep. Oh, well, I mean, he didn't have to say much more than that to Freddie, did he? You know what I mean? Good grief, you could almost hear his stomach gurgling. God, he threw up. Wow, it was like a fountain. The park keeper was lucky on his toes, mate. He said to him, "Oh, whoa," as he leaped back, getting out of the way of all this blimmin' vomit. And he looked down, he said, "Oh," he said, if you do any more," he said, "go over there." He says, "Do it in that bin over there." God, blimey. I've got to clean this lot up in the morning. And it was a bit too late. He up another, Freddie threw up again. Oh dear. And the park keeper, he said, "If I was you, I'd get home, son." He says, "You're not looking too good." He said, "You've gone a bit pale." He said, "And in fact, if it's gone through you," he said, "it might go right through you, if you know what I mean. I'd get home if I were you." Thank you very much," as Freddie, as he sort of wiped his mouth on his sleeve. Anyway, he got back home and, like I say, he just wasn't able to tell his mum. She was upset. She said to him when he went in, he said, I've had a phone call from your father, and he said that you can see him this weekend." And I thought, "Oh, that's good." And then, as I went to sit down by the tally, he said, I thought to myself, well, he can take me to that fair, can't he? If he's at a fair, at least he'd make up for this flipping food I've been eating at grandparents' house. So anyway, as you can imagine, he, uh, he sees his father, and of course his father tells him that he's not living with the mother anymore. It's not a fair, as in a fair ground. He's had an affair. So oh dear. So Freddie's has a very quiet week, and then of course back to everything. He goes to grandparents, and he said, "I hope they haven't got another treat for me." Anyway, again, he said, he said, "Hello, Freddie." He says, "You cheer up." He said, "We've heard you've had some bad news about your mum and dad." He said, "But they're sensible people. They'll sort this out. They're not daft. They can mend their things, make things better." Anyway, he said, "We've got a nice salad tonight." Oh, thought Freddie. Oh, I do. I'm not that keen on many things in salad. I mean, I don't really like radishes, and I'm not too keen on beetroot and that. But a bit of lettuce and a bit of cucumber, and then I can eat. You know what I mean? And maybe a bit of coleslaw. I can eat coleslaw. So anyway, anyway, of course, they're putting out all these different things on the table, these bowls with different salads things in, and he's looking at them, and he recognises this and he recognises that, and spring onions and that. Anyway, oh, she says, I nearly forgot the special treat. I thought, what special treat's this? Anyway, she came back from the kitchen, Grandma did, and she got this clear glass bowl, a Pyrex bowl, a clear one. And in it was like jelly, clear jelly, not strawberry jelly or blackcurrant jelly, but clear. And there were all little bits of things in the jelly. And of course, he had a look at that and he says, what's that, Grandad? He said, it's prune. Your mother's made it, Grandma's made it. It's really special. We haven't had it in years. Again, like I say, the butcher's been really good and got us. I mean, you just can't get brains anymore these days. Brains? What do you mean brains? He said, well, like pig's brains. They make the brawn with. Oh, he said, oh, I can't eat that. That's lovely stuff, he said. It's really nice. Oh, I know, Grandad. He says, why are you doing all this? He said, I love you, Grandma, so much. I just can't understand why you're giving me, you don't give people that you love, you don't give them brains, and you certainly don't give them, sheep's stomach, cow's stomach, huh? Pig's intestines. Are you joking? Oh, I didn't think you felt like that. And of course, it was just a very sad thing, really, because, you know, really, they could have just told him, couldn't they? They could have just said, in the war years, we used to eat all this sort of stuff. But now they wanted to show him. They didn't think that he would know. And so, of course, that's what Freddie said. He said, I'm intelligent. You can just tell me what it was like, and you can tell me if you enjoyed it or not, if you thought the food was okay when you were on ration books and all that in the war. But he said, I didn't really have to eat it to know it. He said, because to tell you the truth, it's disgusting. Anyway, that's it. That's a story of old Freddie. It's the same. Have a look at these laugh out louds. I've got 6 of them, just short stories on ebooks. So they're on the Kindle and on Amazon, and of course I believe you can sort of download them on your phone these days, and you can put them on your iPad. And then I said to you last week, and I tried to write comedy. I hope I'm successful at it. But these are just short little stories, just tasters for um, like I say, busy people on the go. Anyway, my name's David Wiggins. I thank you very much for listening to me. I hope you have a look at my Laugh Out Loud series on Kindle. It's a way of, like I say, of getting myself known through this social media and through obviously doing these videos. And that's what my intention is. I hope you enjoy it. I certainly enjoy writing them. I hope you enjoy reading them. Thank you very much. Until next time, bye.